time to speak about mining, and Mr. Martin Ayisi is here, the CEO of the Minerals Commission. Good morning, Chief. How are you? We can't complain. We thank God.
Yes.
Last week we were speaking about the opportunities in the mining sector, and we zeroed in on the 5 things. Initially it was 4, but I expanded it to 5. The 5 things that you believe we need to focus on. One has to do with, I think, financing. Yes. And then I think the other one had to do with, I think, the decision on small-scale mining. You know, so maybe today we'll focus on the 2. I'm not sure we can exhaust all 5, so maybe focus on the 2.
They are quite loaded.
Yes.
So good morning to you and good morning to your viewers. I think I identify 5 key areas that we think we should work hard on. I mean, the policies and programs are already in place. But as we do the education, then people get to understand what is required. So before we left last week, I mentioned local financing.
Yes.
How mining operations are financed. I'll touch on it, and then how people can get into that space. Then there are opportunities in exploration and mining. That is to get involved in the exploration proper and or mining. There are a lot of opportunities there. Then the issue of value addition, something that we've not done very well at all as a nation, even the African continent. If you like, value addition or beneficiation. And then, of course, small-scale mining. Small-scale mining, for me, has become a critical aspect of mining in Ghana. At least 1/3 of our gold, and also is being conducted now in about 13 regions. It's not something we should play with. Then, of course, the local content, generally. So, if you ask me, the last 4 or 5 years, a lot has happened. So, Randy, we may have to start with the first one, local financing.
Yeah.
If you may recall, or even out there in the public, one of the biggest criticisms we face, that Ghanaians complain about is that we don't own the mines.
Yes.
This particular number 1 item is so critical for me. We don't own the mines. That's number 1. Obuasi does not look like Joburg or Perth or Vancouver, where most of these monies are raised from. If you don't own the mine, then they come here, dig the stuff, take it out. You don't even add value. And then they go, this cocoa business, the kind of money the Swiss make from chocolate. Yeah, they don't even have, is it an acre of a cocoa tree or something that cannot do in that kind of climate anyway. So it's the same argument that is playing out here. Now, if we don't take the issue of ownership seriously, we will not get there. Randy, there shouldn't be any panic, because in the West, the moment you start putting in place measures to ensure that, look, there is state and Ghanaian participation, or locals get to participate, especially in Africa, there's a particular word they use and hit at you. There's something called resource nationalism. We'll talk about that later on. So take Newmont. Newmont currently has 2 big operations in Ghana, one in Achi, one in Ahafo. They are building a 3rd mine. That mine is going to cost $1 billion. The money is going to come from US. It will go back. The annoying part, annoying in quote, because I'm speaking on telly, is that the money probably, most likely, will come from Newmont Mining Corporation. Okay? Because they have money. It is the biggest producer of gold in the world. I need to explain certain things so that we understand the context. And within a month or 2 ago, they completed one of the biggest mining acquisitions in the world. They bought a company in Australia called Newcrest for $19 billion. That's what? The total exports of this country or something of that nature. This is just one country buying what do you call a company.
One company.
Yes, one company. Okay, so that has catapulted them to number 4 or 5 biggest mining company in the world. Wow. I mean, there's a difference between being a big mining company in a particular mineral and also being a very big, some of them can mine even 11, 12 minerals like the BHPs and co. This money will come from Newmont Mining Corporation. And then it will come with an interest. Most likely, anything between 8 and 15%, depending on how they rate you. Okay, so if you are going to do a project in Niger, what is happening, then you say, oh, okay, this, and then you see, this is how, that's why when people say cry or won't cry, I disagree. What is happening in Niger has a huge impact on us here. So those hedge funds, private equity companies and co that are in Western Australia, in US and co, they say, no, West Africa, there they go again. We will not give them 6 or 4, 5%. You see, the interest rate they will get in their country, the same project, is not the same interest rate they'll give you here because of the risk factor, political risk. That is the issue. So you got to be wise enough to make sure that the money is raised here. That is it. The other big project, Cardinal, which will become the 3rd biggest mine in Ghana, about 400,000 ounces a year. Look at the average price of gold this year, a little over 1,900. That's a lot of money. The money is coming from China. It will come with interest rate. The annoying part is when they lend to themselves, the same entity. So Newmont Mining Corporation sits in US, gives money to Newmont Ghana Gold, and then take what, 12, 13%? You charge your withholding tax? No. So that is one area that we need to change as far as our policies are concerned. How do we do it? One, we must insist that they raise some of the money here because our capacity to absorb these billions, we cannot. How do you do it? They should list on the stock exchange. So for me, I have been told, and they've told the whole world, and I'll spend time on this, we can even continue next week, that Anglo Gold Ashanti, a South African company, headquarters in Joburg. I think they've moved their primary headquarters recently to London. They don't have any gold mine in South Africa. They sold all their mines. But they are trading on a Joburg Stock Exchange. They are trading in London now. That's their primary area of domicile. Anglo Gold is the biggest producer of gold in Africa. They have 2 big mines in Ghana. One in Obuasi, which now they say is their core prime property, and then the one in Iduapim, just adjacent to Goldfields. Okay? Yes. Then they are number 4 in the world for gold. Then Goldfields is number 6 in the world. Okay? And also have 2 big mines in Ghana, Takwa and the one in Aboso. They said they want to do a JV. These 2 big properties, the Iduapim mine and then that of the Goldfields mine. The data I have tells me that it will cost over $5 billion or so to do this, to put these projects together. It is good for this country. I mean, if you look at what they are presenting. But then the question we have to ask ourselves is, what is in it for us? Should we allow all these $5-6 billion plus money to do this JV? That is in the event government okays it to come from South Africa, or they should go and raise it in London? You see, when we keep allowing this kind of thing, which we've allowed over the years, then we will not get there. Okay? And I will, for example, not be convinced. If you come and tell me that with the $7-8 billion that we need to implement the JV over this period, we cannot get in Ghana, I may agree, perhaps the stock exchange or the various funds here cannot take it. But at least we can raise some millions of dollars here. You understand? And the money will stay here. So these are the kind of things that we need to work hard on. So we have to insist that part of the money is raised here. Okay? Either they talk to banks, they talk to certain institutions and raise the money, or they go to the stock exchange and list. So the law has been passed. Since 2020, we now have a law which says that a certain portion of their money should be raised locally here. And we're going to do that. So for me, I'm expecting that Atlantic Lithium will list. and raise some of their monies here. So if we want money, mining, that's why when you ask that question, day one, oh, we have not benefited from the mining. I said yes and no. No, because the bulk of the money, you know that adage, he who plays whatever,
pays the piper,
calls the tune. Insofar as the billions that give you no less than 40% of the risk every year continue to come from outside, you are not in charge.
True.
So our new programs and policies are now being designed in such a way that at least let us raise some of the money here. It has started. I'll give you a success story. It is out there. So it's not something confidential. Mensing Gold raised about $160 million here.
Which one is that?
The Bibiani mine, which was moribund for about 6-7 years. And they got the money in cities, equivalent. Okay? The institutions that they took them from, and the institutions that they took them from, they're going to pay them. Okay? Either in gold or the money. Will it go outside? So it's been done. In fact, when they raised the money, it triggered a storm in the global mining world. Oh, so it means if they can do this, they can get away. Because you see, they are scared. They always need to have that stranglehold on you. But if you can start raising $160 million within a year to finance mining operations, that means you could as well raise $500 million and then maybe $1 billion or $2 billion. And then if they rely a lot on you for some of the resources they consider as critical, then they need to sit up. So what it simply means is that very soon you can also match them toe to toe, because then you can raise the money here. If you can raise the money here, then increasingly you are winning yourself, or you may not necessarily need them. You can acquire technology. You can acquire technology. I can own the mine and bring in people from South Africa or Australia or Canada to come and do it. So if we want mining to benefit this country, or answer that vexed question, whether indeed 100 plus years, first large commercial mine 1897, Obuasi 126 years on, okay, has benefited this country or not, then we need to take financing seriously. There are four major ways by which mining operations are financed. I'll be a bit good biased, because that's what we have. And let's be honest, 53% of the world's exploration budget, which last year stood at 11 billion, half of that went to gold. One, you can raise money through internal funds. So a company here in Ghana here puts in their own money. You can do that. Two, through debt, go to the bank and raise money. But normally the banks will give you money not for exploration. They will not want to risk it. So banks normally come in when you can demonstrate a bankable feasibility, or you're a mine. You found something, they know what is there. There is gold there, or the mineral is found. Then the banks will normally come in. So banks in Australia, a very popular bank, Macquarie, or Nova Scotia in Canada, they can bring in their millions. If they are bringing their millions, the same Macquarie Bank, what they will give in Australia, the interest rate will not be the same as what Ghana here, because of the political risk factor. So debt. Then equity. So you can sell shares. You see, private or public. It depends on whether you are listed or not. So Newmont, for example, can either decide to raise this $1 billion from their own money, okay, internal funds, or go and sell more shares on the various areas where they are listed. And then what is also now common is what they call royalty and what they call the streaming, where I can give you money up front, and then when you produce, you give me the gold, okay? Or you pay cash. The fundamental difference between royalty and streaming is one, you pay cash, the other one. So maybe Metro can say, we are sitting on $40 million for the sake of argument for the public to understand. So I'm going to give you to company A, go and do your gold project, and then you give me the metal, okay, at a discounted price. That's streaming. Or I'm going to give it to you and I'll take royalty interest, and then you pay me some money. So these are the various ways by which mining operations are financed. The question is, for how long can we go on like this? Because in South Africa, the money is raised on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Then we have other institutions, hedge funds and all those things. That's why I keep saying this anytime I come here. SNITs, they sit on billions. I have over 600 staff. Do you know the budget I pay for SNIT. Okay? Yes. What are you doing with the money? Okay? A lot of mining companies here. And then they've been showing up now. I mean, since I started this program, especially on this local contenting, I've had no less than 7 banks and institutions coming to talk to me. In fact, one has even moved far. They are even doing a due diligence on a particular company that is looking for money from them. And it's all because of this program. Do you understand? And then all of them, I realized that they keep talking about risks. Then I asked them, American companies, hedge funds, and all these pension funds of all these their workers, they don't even know where Ghana is located. They only get to know about Ghana, either maybe through football, that's why football sells you a lot, or if there is war. All of a sudden, people are getting to know about Niger.
Yes.
Okay? Because it's being carried on CNN and all these important things. ECOWAS is talking about it, that kind of. That's when they get to know about Niger. Other than that, Niger, only the French know. Even the French, those who get the uranium. Those are some of the issues that we are talking about. So, for somebody to use his life savings, give it to a company that manages by investing. Like Ghana, we have tier 3, right?
Yeah.
Where we have various institutions that manage it for people. They invest in all kinds of things. Then he takes his money from a country where he doesn't even know where you are located, comes here, pours in billions, and you talk about risks to me. Okay? So Newmont is going to spend $1 billion to get Ahafo North, 30 kilometers north of Subika, ready in 2 years. And they'll produce on the average about 300,000 ounces of gold. Look at that. You understand? And they are saying you are very risky when it comes to political risks. You are very risky. Yet the accounts will say, "Oh man, you and they have brought their money here." And then you sit here and say, "Oh, it is not something that you want to do." You have no business in questioning me that mine is not benefiting this country, because one of the measures government is putting in place is that put your money in these mines. If you don't want to do exploration for now, which is risky, what about these mining companies? So for me, this program is A1. And I'm happy that because of you, because of Metro, people now are walking to Minerals Commission and asking, look, we have a few monies here, we want to put it in. You know, how do we do that? Mining companies have come to leave their information. We're looking for money. When some people come and they want to invest in projects, refer them to us, because we don't only do regulation, just giving licenses and making sure that they follow the rules and protocols, but we also do what? Investment promotion. That's why we go to those big areas. We go to Australia, Perth, down under, we go to PDAC, we go to Indaba, and then we also go to sometimes Mines and Money, just to showcase Ghana and tell that this is what we have. And people cut all kinds of deals. So that is one of the answers to that first question you asked. How do we ensure that money benefits this country? There are some policies already in place. Unless you have a question. Number 2, which we also have to look at.
The point I was going to make is that if you even look at what has happened to the financial sector of this country in the last 1 year, I mean, it is a no-brainer that a lot of the pension funds and financial institutions should stop what is termed as their lazy investment
and
options
run to mining.
And go into mining.
Seriously.
It's a no-brainer at this point.
Even small scale.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer at this point.
Even small scale.
Yes.
I'm telling you, people are pouring money into small scale. People are pouring money into small scale and they are making money. I'm not talking about Galamsey here.
And that would even help with responsible mining.
That is it. Yeah. The properly regulated one I showed you. So then one of the banks also, I said, look, if you have put your money in this mining thing by now, you will have made it. And they say, oh, you know, sometimes the price takes a nosedive, you know, you can lose that. It's just because you don't have education. You just have to wait. You know, there are companies that are not miners, that are not into exploration. They call them royalty companies, like Franco-Nevada Corporation. They have billions, they sit in there and come to you, Randy. We can give you $100 million for this your project. In lieu of this, give us your gold or give us, we'll give you the money. Okay, if you have any good project in our project, they'll give it to you. But they look at all the risks and all this. I mean, somebody would prefer, of course, to come to Ghana than to go to maybe Niger or some of these countries and all those things. So you see, once we talk about, oh, we have a lot of minerals and all those things. We also need to get our political system right. Governance is also everything. I mean, any mining company coming to Africa will always choose Ghana over many other African countries because of our stability, you know, our the way we do things here and all those kind. And they look at that a lot, you see. And I always say this, the thing is like a beauty contest. Okay? Excuse my language because I'm speaking on television. Even prostitutes, unless you have not been there anyway, but at least you see those who visit them, they even walk around. They are even looking for certain things.
There's a popular place close to your office.
Yes. They run about there, yes. Yeah. And they don't just go there unless he knows you and then you are the famous clients for him. Other than that, they even look at you. Sometimes they talk Ayisi when I'm not that
even they are choosy.
That is how mining is. So there's gold in Niger, there's gold in Ghana. Where do I go? Oh, Ghana. You know, peaceful, stable country, democracy. All the big guys are here because we have number 1 in the world here, Newmont. We have number 4 here, Anglo Ashanti. We have number 6 here, Goldfields. And now we have number 10, Shandong. In fact, we even had number 7 until they exited and sold at King Ross. Okay? So all the big players are there. So even it is a plus for us. So, oh, if all these big players are here, then it means
there
that
must be something
good. And Newmont has been around for like 20 years or so now. So that also speaks volumes of your pedigree. So that is that on the local financing. The framework already exists. It's have to be just a little bit hard and push. Run the number 2. And that's where I come from. The local content team. So for now, here you are, but in a way, let me mention a few mines that are being owned locally now. So Ghana Bauxite, until recently, was owned by the Chinese. But now it is 100% state and Ghanaian owned. The state has 20% interest. The other 80% is for a Ghanaian. Adamus Resources in the Nzima area is also Ghanaian owned. Mensing Gold has a lot of local investments because of the money they put in there. So these are happening now. So it's not something that an illusion. At least we have examples to show. But I had wished this thing had happened 10 years ago. Maybe people didn't understand it, but then better late than never. Randy, so you don't own the mines. You don't own a Ahafo mine, you don't own a Chim mine, you don't own Takwa, you don't own Goldfields, you don't own almost all these big mines. And then the report we have, our report also shows that they spend billions of dollars. In fact, 3-4 times than the receipt they pay to government. So if you don't own the mine, what about the billions they spend every year on goods and services that you can also not retain here? So if you don't own Newmont, you don't own Goldfields, and then in 2021, just about 13 or so mining leases spent, that's my favorite example, spent $304 million on fuel to purchase fuel for all those ERF moving equipment. Okay, I've not added lubricant. If you add lubricant, that's about $400 million. I'm talking about 2 years ago. Why should you sit down as a nation? If you cannot raise a billions, it's not that we cannot raise a billion. People lack education because I'm showing you examples. So if you cannot raise a billions too, do you want to allow foreign companies, I'm not a nationalist,
yes,
to come here and set up joints and sell petrol? You need psychiatric examination. So we stopped it. So in 2019, the record was $100 million. 2021, $304 million. See the new mines that are coming up. Ahafo North, $1 billion project. Cardinal, Azuma, lithium. Those who are expanding, redevelopment, etc. So very soon, fuel will be a $1 billion industry. And Randy, this is a fact. You do it, I'll do it. If you have an American company coming here, and they see an American company providing all kinds of services here, they will do it in America.
Yes.
Okay? When the Australians came here, they were using a lot, African underground mine, or AMS, etc. If a French company comes to set up here, trust me, if Societe Generale still exists in Ghana, they will channel their resources there. They will transfer from Societe Generale France to Societe Generale Ghana to finance their operations here. Okay? If it's from UK, they'll look for those banks. You understand? So, and they think that, well, they are being nationalistic. Yeah. Why would a French company come here invest in, let's say, $100 million in a mine and use any other bank when there's a French company here. They'll do the same thing here. Stanchart, APSA. Do you understand? They have those biases. It's natural. You do it.
Yeah.
Okay? You do the same thing. So if you don't put in place deliberate, and some of the things you have to force it. And let me use that language.
Yeah.
Okay? US and EU and Japan, they give subsidies on agriculture. Have you asked yourself why? Haven't you seen, was it last year or 2 years ago, where tomato farmers come and then demonstrate and then put tomatoes on the streets of Paris? This is a developed country that heavily subsidized agriculture. Then they sit here and say, don't do certain things. Okay, so some of the measures, we just have to force it.
You have to be deliberate.
You have to be
them.
deliberate. I'm not talking about where you don't have capacity.
No, this is common
That
sense.
one you are being stupid if you
It's
don't have
common
capacity.
sense.
Like some of the African countries, they say, oh, today don't export this in raw. The following day they change it. But then, so this is one of the mechanisms we have in place. We are saying that, by law.
That informs your local content.
Yes, so
you've been gradual about it.
Yes.
As you build capacity, as capacity improves,
some of them we are gradual, particularly in the area of manufacturing, because you got to be careful. You see, you don't force them to purchase product. They put it in the mill, and then you those things cost millions
Standards
of dollars.
and all that, yeah.
But then I ask myself, every mining company by law is supposed to insure almost everything there: your machines, your equipment, and even your workforce. Okay, we have insurance companies in this country,
wholly owned.
Yes. So the rule we did it last year, and we said, I think 20% or so of your insurable interest or risk, whatever, use the local insurance company. And then we're so dramatic, we moved it to 60%. Look at the number of mining companies in Ghana here. So if they spend even $10 million or $20 million on insurance, we are saying that at least 60% of that, give it to insurance companies that are 100% owned by citizens of Ghana. This is how you build your economy. Okay? Other than that, those foreign insurance companies that have come here, they'll do the insurance companies with them. The same thing, another area that we have revolutionized is the banking sector. They, more often than not, they return over 70% of the money when they export their good. So last year, receipt was about 6.6 billion. So give and take, at least not less than 4 billion was repatriated. Okay? Bank of Ghana gets some in dollars, they give them cedis. So I'm saying, or Mincom is saying, or for that matter, government of Ghana is saying that at least 60% of the money that you bring back, because you pay salaries, you procure services, you pay people who give you all kinds of services per the procurement, you pay them. I'm saying we are tired of putting all your money at APSA, Stanchart, EcoBank, and those periods which they like using. What about Agriculture Development Bank, CBG, Ghana Commercial Bank? Randy, if we don't do these things, so you see, once the money runs through, they also have money to lend people. They will do it in their country. If you don't do these things, okay, Russia will not allow a foreign company to come and explore and mine uranium. No way, for strategic reasons. Okay, for a very long time, America was not exporting oil. It is for a strategic reason. Okay, so why can't we also have a deliberate policy and say that a certain portion of your receipts should run through the local banks? A certain portion or percentage of the insurance that you do every year should run through the local insurance company. Fortunately, I don't have to go to Parliament every year and change the law. Parliament says a Minerals Commission. Every year, look at all the services and goods and that the companies procure, and see the areas that you think should be preserved for Ghanaians, and then generate a list, discuss it with them, and put it on it. Randy, one of my biggest achievements as Minerals Commission. So I got up one day, I saw the report. Then I realized that Newmont, for example, has about close to 8,000 people on medical services. Okay? So for example, me, at Mincom, over 600 staff. I have a wife, I have 4 children. Okay? So you go to the mining companies, look at them. Whether it's a woman mining engineer or the female or the male who is working in whatever capacity, their spouse and children, depending on the numbers, it depends on the company's rule, are covered for medical services. Okay? How do you sit here as a country and allow mining companies to come from outside? Of course, they should come and invest their money. They will take their profits away. We will not stop that. Even communist country, China, you even take your profit away. How do you allow companies to come in here, come and set up? By law, they cannot use foreign doctors unless a foreign doctor comes to do a convention. Even if you come from Harvard Medical School, you are the best cardiologist, and anyone wants to employ you, you have to do a convention here. The same in my profession, law.
Right.
So how do you give a contract to a foreign company? They come here and then hire Ghanaian doctors and other allied health, health practitioners, nurses, doctors, whatever. Because the miners, they set up on the camp. Some of them are far out, okay? And then you pay the Ghanaian health professionals. And then whatever is left, you take it outside. You must be out of your senses. So we change that rule. So effective this year, we have instituted a new rule. This general, and we said that, look, every medical services at all the mine sites must be provided by Ghanaian mining companies. Come and see by February, the number of doctors that incorporated company and applied to Minerals Commission should be registered and provide that services. So Golden Star, for example, it was a foreign company that was running it. The contract ended in December. We met the chamber. We presented to them that these are the new things coming next year. And I said, don't sign any new contract. Go give it to a Ghanaian. A Ghanaian doctor and his group want a company. Today they are providing services. It is not about whatever. Because you cannot go and bring the US doctor here. No way. It's against our law. So these are the kind of things that over the years they were doing. Okay? It's the same thing. That's the kind of thing they were doing. When an American companies come here, even they try to look for an American trained mining engineer. You see, yes. Today I'm very proud, and then let me repeat my favorite company, Idua Prim Mine, owned by Anglo Gold Ashanti, 740, because I remember the figures very well. Last year it was 630 something, so it means that they've increased the workforce. 714 full-time employees at Idua Prim Mines. Everybody is Ghanaian. The MD left, South African. We took him out. We said, no, give the job to a Ghanaian. So they headhunted a Ghanaian from Australia, one of the finest mining engineers we've ever seen in the world. Well exposed, his work everywhere in Africa, in Tanzania, in Australia, and all those. He's now heading the mine. Okay? It is not possible for a foreigner to be a mine manager in Ghana today. The mine manager, just for you to understand, is like the army commander. The mine runs. In fact, the managing director can be even a sociologist or whatever. I mean, he's just an administrator. When we go for inspection, it's a mine manager we deal with, and you have to be certified.
The operations specialist.
Yes. Okay. So these are the areas that we're doing very well, and these are just new. Again, my another favorite one, apart from medical services, is the tailings storage facility. For the ordinary man to understand, it's just a dam that you construct so that after the processing and all those things, you put them in there. That's why you store it, the waste. Basically, let's understand it that the waste from everything that you have done. Okay, you keep it there, and after some number of years, it is full, then you decommission. Randy, it costs millions of dollars to do that. This year, we have put it on the list, just this January. So it means that since January this year, no foreign company can come and construct TSF. Because we have Ghanaian companies with the capability. Me, 20 years ago, I cannot imagine this. But you see, and sometimes with the Ghanaians must persevere. Again, years ago, about 99% of exploration licenses are held by Ghanaians. Most of the exploration are in the house of Ghanaians.
Really?
Yes. Okay, when we do licensing rounds, about over 99% of all the prospecting licenses are held by Ghanaians. As a young lawyer then, assistant legal officer, senior legal officer, when they take the prospecting license, they give them some money upon signing, some $5,000, $10,000, some $50,000, bring the foreigners to come and farm me, and then they are okay. Now, Ghanaians are not doing that again. Okay? They are raising money on their own, they are cutting better deals and all those things have changed. Okay? So very soon, in the next 4 or 5 years, you will see medium-sized mines being owned by Ghanaians even the big guys, you see Ghanaians owning some shares in it. But it takes a lot of education because it's a very technical thing.
Right.
So, local content, we're doing very well. We still have a long way to go, but we are doing very well. You're talking about $3 billion annually. Local financing, we've just started. For me, this is the area we need to push. Increasingly force them, in quote, to raise the money here. I needed to be convinced that you couldn't get a $5 billion here and that you can raise $500 million. I need to be convinced the rest you can bring in from outside.
Yeah.
The other ones, value addition, which is something of a nightmare. Then the exploration and mining, we'll discuss them. So the whole of August.
So we'll deal with that next week.
We'll deal with that. Yes. So if you have some money, come and let's talk so that you go and put it in it.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I'll go check under my bed to see if there's something there. Anyway, thanks, Mr. Ayisi. Great as always having you on the show. And up next is Metrospect.